The calming breeze touching through her body in a hot day should cool down her nerves, just like she saw the girl on YouTube, loving her life while doing the work she likes. But for Ryan, she was so messed up. Tearing up another page as she snatched her hairs again and then rested her forehead on her hands. She was at her edge of bursting out from the anger because she had to solve this problem and make a presentation on it, which is due tomorrow. The stress took control over her thinking. How she doesn't have a second to waste, or she can't even solve the problem yet. Jungkook comes out of the washroom and sees her in her messed up form, throwing her forehead in her hands, which wasn't satisfying for Jungkook to see at all. He went towards her and sat on the table to ask her, "What's going on?" She looks up a little and then goes back to her position again as she says, "I want to cry now. This is getting too difficult for me. I want to throw up from the anger." Jungkook raised his brow as he was surprised, for he says, "You are angry? You love solving problems, no matter how much time it takes. They usually excite you when you can't solve the problem. Why are you angry now?" One, "I don't know. Someone just take me out of here. I can't even relax as it's due tomorrow." Jungkook took a look at the problem and then shook his head in awe as he said, "I would help you, but this calculus is out of my range. If it's something related to coding, I'm in. But this, not at all. Sorry, babes." She took a big sigh again, as she already knows this. While Jungkook couldn't see her like that. He thinks for a little bit and then smiles, looking at her, as he says, "Can't you have a little break with me?" "Fine. I told you it's due tomorrow. How can you expect me to take a break? Besides, I'm on my periods, so we can't do much anyways." Jungkook, "Oh, so that's the actual reason for your anger. Don't worry. Blood never scares me. If you take a break, you'll be able to do it more effectively and quickly." Wine, "No, not today at all." Jungkook, "You never listen to me, do you?" Saying that, he thought about some things that might seduce her. He put a hand on hers, and as she looked at him, he licked his lips and winked at her. She blushed very hard, but she shrugged it off in an instant while saying to him, "Don't make it difficult for me anymore." Jungkook started rolling his sleeves up for her to see his tattoos and those big muscular arms, and then leant against the wall as he did his dangerous, seducing smirk. She looked at him and whined as she said, "No, please, not this one." "Jungkook, you know better than me that you can't resist me," he said, and then bit his lips seducingly. She threw her hat on the desk as she knows there's no way out now. "Jungkook, are you whining already? Look at me. There is still a lot of me left." She looked at the pile of papers and then said, "It's enough. There's no time for me to play anymore," she said as she hit the table with full force, and then looked at him. But as soon as she looked there, her anger dissipated into blush. Her eyes widened, and her cheeks were more red than blood. "Jungkook, what were you saying? You don't have time to do what?" "Wine. I was saying I don't have time to work anymore," she said while closing the laptop. He smirked and pulled her towards him through her wrist. As she got between his legs, he wrapped one arm around her waist, and with the other he pulled her chin up as he said, "Aren't you going to unbutton the shirt already?" he said in the deepest seducing voice possible. She smirked back at him, and after biting her lips, she started opening his shirt's buttons one by one. As she went for the last one, her lips were already taken by Jungkook. He went for it deeply as he tried to divert all her attention towards him. And he knew it very clearly that he won't have to try too hard to do that. Just his existence is enough to divert her attention. They kissed each other deeply for minutes as she broke it down hastily to catch her breath. She kept breathing fastly as he looked at her while smiling. "Jungkook, still not ready to take a break?" She laughed as she said to him, "I suddenly remember. I heard somewhere that if you exercise before studying, you are able to concentrate more effectively. So I might try that now." "Jungkook, that's my girl," he said as he jumped onto the floor and stood in front of her while saying, "Then let's start the exercise," he said and picked her up from her waist, gently throwing her on the bed and coming upon her slowly, like a wild animal crawling above her to eat his prey. He took off her clothes slowly, and his hands moved for her bra. He took it off strap by strap and moved his lips towards her neck. He started tasting it from her chin until her waist. She wrapped her legs around his torso, and they had an entire workout session full of hotness that time. As he didn't want to take much time of hers, as he knows she will have to suffer later if he does that. So after a couple of minutes, he lies beside her on the bed. She looks at him and gets surprised seeing him tired. As she raised her brows to ask him, "You are tired already? That never happened before." "Jungkook, did you like it that much? You want to do more?" he said while tickling her softly. She laughed cutely and said, "No, it's just I never knew you could get tired too." She scoffed. "Jungkook, just think that I had to distract you a little, and I was successful. So, no need to do it anymore." "Distract me? From what?" she asked, but then quickly realizes. So she sits on the bed in an instant and says, "My work." What the hell did I start doing? No. She starts panicking again, not knowing she just took a 10-minute break. He quickly sits beside her, putting his hand around her neck as he says, "Calm down already. Aren't you feeling better after doing this?" Wine. I am. But what about the work? Jungkook. Just tell me if you're feeling any better or not. Wine took a breath and took a few seconds to think before speaking. Yes, it feels much better now. Jungkook. It's fine then. Nothing else matters more than your feelings. You said it yourself, right? Calm down and do it while feeling better, like right now. Fine. I actually do feel calmer, although the session wasn't calm at all. Jungkook. It was wilder than I thought it to be. She laughed as she took a deep breath again and said to him, "Thanks. Thank God that I have you." He put a finger on her lips as he says, "No need to say anything anymore. I know who is more grateful for a home. So let's start the work already." She put on her clothes in a second and tied her hairs, for she gave him a kiss on the forehead while blushing, and went to her study table again to work as he went outside the room to attend an important call.